You got this. Love you, brother.
My name's Bob. If a lot of you don't know me, can you hear it now? Well, this is my story. I was born in Rancho, Illinois. I was an Air Force brat, and we lived there until I was about 7. Then I moved to Richmond, and I was raised in Richmond. And if anybody knows Richmond, it's, you had to fight a lot, and I did. And I, lived my life the way I raised myself. And my parents, they raised me, but they couldn't do nothing with me. They tried. They did the best they could. But I went on my own. I left home when I was 16. I was drinking, smoking marijuana, did whatever, because that's who I was and that's what I wanted to be. I held jobs, I did this and that and whatever, and I fought and lived, went through a lot of rough times. But, I'm not up here to get nobody's sympathy. I'm just up here me and the Lord had a fight, and he won. So, that's all I got to say about that. I was, living it rough, living however I wanted to live. I kind of stopped when I was 18 years old. I ended up in prison. I spent 2 years of my life in prison, and I had to go back to fighting and surviving and living, which I did. And that was, that's been most of my life, is fighting and doing what, just living basically. And that's what I did, and I fought most of my life. I drank a lot, smoked a lot, did a lot of drugs. And then after I got out, I stayed the same thing, done the same thing over and over and over. And then I reached about 35 years old, met my wife and my 2 daughters, and it was still rough, they'll tell you, but we made it. And I don't know how, I don't know why they stuck with me, and to this day I still don't. I know they love me and I love them. I got 5 beautiful grandkids, wouldn't give the world for them. I'd fight the world for them, like I always have and always will. And then I went to Cross Point Biker Church up on the hill. And I went the first day. I was gone for about 3-4 months, because if you knew me, you brought a Bible around me, I'd push you away. But there was a man in there that Jesus sent him to me. And I love him to death, and I always will. And I'll die for my family, and I'd die for that man. He knows who he is. And he taught me one day, we went to the hospital visits. Yeah, see me in a hospital visit. But, if you know him, yeah. Him and God, they do a lot of talking to me. And God's done a lot for me. He brought me to where I am now. I'm part of a fixture in this place. And that's just the way it's going to be. And, that's life. And then, like I said, we went to a hospital one day, and there was, we took some Christmas gifts up to the kids at Riley. And I took one in there, and we were standing there talking to a young gentleman, and I started leaking. And I had to go out in the hallway, and I told Chris, I said, I usually don't leak like this. But they got my heart. kids always get my heart. And the Lord has brought me to where I am today, and if it wasn't for him and the mouse that the Lord sends me with every day, kind of chews my ear off. But, you know, like I say, I'm Bob, and that's who I was, and that's who I am, and I'm not going to change for nobody. And I changed for one person, and that's the Lord, and he brought me to where I am today. And he's going to take me to the rest of the world in my life. And then, like I said, there's only two people that I'll die for, and that's for him and Chris Lovett and my family. Either one of them, you better bring your lunch. That's all I got to say. My name's Bob, and thank you.